Welcome back to another episode of Admit It with Alexis White, and we are here with Caelen Jones. Caelen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Will you tell us a little bit about where you went to college, where you're from, what you do?
So I played 3 years of Division I basketball at Boston University, then 2 years of Division III at Claremont, McKenna.
Oh, wow.
And then played briefly overseas in Barcelona. Now living in Los Angeles. I grew up as kind of a nomad. I was always the new kid, something I kind of enjoyed, actually. Was born in Amsterdam, then Portland, Oregon, then San Diego, Buffalo, New York, back to Los Angeles for high school. Went to Loyola High School. I did an extra year of prep school in Vermont at Vermont Academy, before ending up Boston, then back to Claremont, and now back here in LA.
Did you do a PG year?
I did a PG year.
Ooh, we got to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because I have a student doing a PG year, probably.
Where at?
Well, he's at Loyola now.
Oh, no way.
And he, this is just a story we have to tell. I'm sorry. He's at Loyola now. We were all ready for recruitment process, all the things. Like, we had the list of and usually what I do when I have a student who's going to be recruited, particularly with, well, he's a football player. We do 3 lists. List 1 is the schools that want me already list that I've spoken to, that's basically possibly a sure thing if I'm okay going to Monmouth or, Emerson.
Right.
Not that those aren't nice schools, but like they're not, he really had his sights set on UVA.
Okay.
So then the list of schools I probably could never get into unless I played football. Then the list of schools that I have nothing to do with football, and if I maybe could walk on or whatever, that would be great, but I'm going to get in regardless. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, what happened was, I think it was his last practice before the beginning of the season, he broke his leg. Had to have surgery, and so now we are headed to probably, hopefully a great boarding school, one of, the Exeter whatever, or possibly doing another year at a public school here with a really good football program. So
I highly recommend the prep school route. As someone who did it, Vermont Academy was not academically focused, but I had a bunch of friends who did the Exeter, Andover, any of those things. Phenomenal college prep.
Okay, I'm gonna pass that on. So when did you start playing basketball?
I think I started probably around 5 or 6, or maybe, yeah. When are you in kindergarten?
You're in kindergarten around 5 or 6.
Yeah. I remember we had recess and I shot a ball into hoop and I was hooked.
And you never, do you have siblings?
Yeah. A younger brother who's playing basketball at Colgate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
These people are legit.
Who's taller than me. So I feel like the little brother. And then a younger sister who is a sophomore at Loyola Marymount.
Okay.
With dreams of being a screenwriter. So
she went the other direction.
She did. Yeah. I think she saw her 2 brothers go the Division I sports route and was a bit like,
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And is she very tall?
She's tall. She's 5'9". Sorry,
yeah, that's
Kylie.
tall.
Yeah.
I'm 5'3" on a really tall day.
It doesn't define you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's actually what the podcast is going to be about.
Yeah.
Height does not define you. How tall are you? Just question, because you can't tell, but he's real tall.
Well, Brandon and I were joking because it's like basketball, I would go, I'm 6'5". And then with the modeling stuff, you shorten down. So I'm like, I'm 6'3".
Oh, we haven't even talked about this, guys.
No, don't.
You said it. I didn't say it.
Well,
he happens to also be a model. We're going to go there in a second. Okay. Okay, so you start playing basketball. You're 5 or 6 years old. You love it, love it.
Yeah.
As somebody who has 2 boys, a 15-year-old and 11-year-old, we're often talking about youth sports stuff. My husband's a coach. He started his own club team. He was very disenchanted with how youth sports kind of works, and the parents and the coaches and all the things.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you played for your school and you played club.
Yeah.
What was the road with that?
Well, I think what really shoved me right out the door basketball wise was my dad played, as he played in college.
Where did he play?
At Johns Hopkins and UC Davis.
These people are so small time.
Yeah. And then my mom was a Hall of Fame volleyball player, William and Mary. So she's like the stud.
Wow.
But as a kid, I was super lucky that I was the kid that would come downstairs, Dad, show me something. Then just like always ask, kind of just annoying him. And then he was kind of my first coach as a kid. We'd do travel teams, we won state in 3rd grade. It was like a whole thing.
Whoa.
So cool.
Which state? Because you've lived in many of them.
That was at the time, that was in San Diego.
Okay,
So
well, that's
California.
good.
Yeah. We beat a bunch of like snobby Newport kids. It was pretty sweet.
Nice.
Yeah. And then so from then, when I was also in San Diego, that was the first time we had a school team. I tried out for the 6th grade team in 4th grade, made it, but they wouldn't let me play. So I was like so heartbroken. But my mom was like, this is okay. You're in 4th grade. You have many years to play.
It's like the opposite, because I feel like usually like the older kids are trying to be younger, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, and I think that was kind of where it turned from like kind of like into love, where being on the playground, like it's so contextual, right? The school I went to at recess, the big thing was they would have refs come and we'd play these giant basketball games.
Wow.
And being the new kid, right, the easiest way to make friends is to be pretty good at basketball. So I would always be the 3rd grader playing up on the 5th grade and the 6th grade courts. And kind of from there, that was where I started to recognize, like, okay, like, people want to be my friend if I'm like, it's kind of subconsciously, you know?
And also connecting with the older kids too. Like you're like, you can't mess with me. I have my crew, the older crew.
And I had a lot of older guy friends, which is super cool. And then I think from there, that's when you start to kind of get exposed, 6th grade, of like, okay, then there's another level of, if you are really good, being on a club team and traveling and pursuing college, and playing at that level, then it kind of became a no-brainer. I never really thought twice about that.
So you always knew you were going to play in college. That was was that sort of a done deal? Well, obviously with your parents, like.
Right. Well, I think subconsciously this kind of like, what's what you're going to do? But they never forced it. And honestly, it was all me just like falling in love with Kobe Bryant around that age too. I found out we were moving to San Diego because there was a Kobe jersey on that's the way they broke it. There's some funny stories about how they tell us we're moving, but
do they have a gimmick for each?
Yeah.
They're like, sorry, your life is going to completely change. Here's a jersey.
Yeah. Well, then I found out I was moving to Buffalo as my dad took me out to frozen yogurt and was like, we're going to New York, and I was like, I don't want to live in the city, and it was like, we're gonna be far from the city, son.
You're going to be under 18 feet of snow. It's okay.
You're gonna be in Canada. No, but all that to say that my dream was NBA. That was what I wanted. So then the next logical step before that is playing Division I basketball.
Did you ever think you were going to go through college, like all the way? Did you think that maybe you'd play a year or two? Was there a draft in your mind that was the dream scenario?
No. I knew that I'd be a 4-year guy.
Okay.
But my thinking was seeing enough other guys going to below major schools, crushing it, playing Division I, that everyone's path is super different. And I didn't know exactly how mine would unfold, but I was like gung-ho.
Okay, so let's talk about how it unfolded, because if we're talking about from the admissions perspective and working with a lot of athletes, and then also on the other side, seeing lots of, especially with my 15-year-old, seeing a lot of kids that are really, really good. I mean, whether they're in public school or private school or whatever, you're going, whoa. Basketball's crazy in that you can be one of the great, maybe if they were going to rate all of the players in the world, you could be one of like the best players in the world and still never play professionally ever. So what did that look like for you? Like as far as the application process was concerned, what teams were interested in you? Did you know early on that there were schools that were looking at you? I just kind of want the like.
Well, yeah, I think in order to properly tell, that would be kind of starting from high school. So in Buffalo, actually, that was the first time I played on a super elite club team. Of the 8 guys on that team, all of us ended up playing in college.
Wow.
Yeah, in Buffalo, New York.
That's
which is
wild. You guys were really good.
Really good. I don't think we lost a game that summer. And that experience was so like, we're just packed guys in a bus, and it was awesome.
So fun.
Total AAU experience.
Did your dad go with you?
No, my parents didn't come to any of that stuff because we would travel so far. We'd go to Ohio, Toronto. It was, we didn't play any games in Buffalo because it would be like no one else to play there.
Right.
But then come to Los Angeles. I go to this big, very sporty high school, Loyola, where I was getting recruited in Buffalo, like having sit-down dinners with coaches about come to my school, come to this school, come to that school.
At what age was this?
That was at 13.
But aren't
13.
we not allowed to do that? This is what I don't understand.
Well, welcome to sports. It's just if they want you, they'll do it.
Interesting.
Very
Okay.
interesting. So yeah, then I come to Loyola and I think, okay, I'm going to be on varsity right away, right? I was the best in Buffalo.
You can say you're the best in Buffalo. It's okay.
I thought I was. And I come to LA and quickly learn that I'm not close to that varsity team at all. I then play freshman as a freshman. I play JV as a sophomore. And then I don't end up like being a full-time starter until my senior year of high school. But that whole time being super into the club circuit, right? I'm playing on at the time it was West Coast, or it was the Earl Watson Elite. So on the shoe circuit and Cal Supreme. And I was so into that world of like, I got to play for the team on the big circuit and that's how it's going to work for me. And I had a meeting with my mom and the head of the program I was playing for at the time. And I was like, okay, here's my list. Here's 10 schools that I'd love to go to.
Oh, I'm ready for this list.
And he goes, you're not good enough to play at any of these schools.
Can I have some of those schools? I want to know what they are.
They were Big West. They were Ivy League. They were other. I mean, it wasn't anything. It wasn't not like I put Duke and Kentucky on there. It was right. I was being very realistic. My mom being as awesome as she is was like, they were a very methodically chosen list of schools that he goes, you need to focus on playing Division III, and if you do play Division I, it'll be kind of like a pity spot on the team.
Interesting.
So a bit heartbroken after that, but also I think delusionally confident that I'm going to prove him wrong. I go through that summer playing. They have the elite camps. Do they still have those? I
think they do the Nike elite camps, or they just the elite camps.
Schools put on elite camps, so they invite you out. So I ended up I went on this East Coast tour where literally I had a giant suitcase and we would go and you'd go play at Penn. Then you'd finish playing at Penn. You'd sleep on the train to Brown. Then you'd go play at Brown for a full day. Then you go to Columbia, then Dartmouth. You do all the Ivy ones. But it's funny to think about now because even at that age we were like, this is a lot.
Even when you had energy and I had energy. And you were very, very young.
Yeah.
Dragging your suitcase on the train.
Well, and then this is a really great story is that I do the Dartmouth camp twice, and they end up inviting me to stay and play after with the team and play pickup, and they're kind of interested. And then I was actually still happened to be out there, and they invited me to come play the third time. And so I was like, all right, Mom, can I please go? And this is where my mom is I owe her everything. She's like, yeah, let's go do it. So I show up at that camp the third time, right? All these coaches know me now, but they're not that interested in me. And so I'm playing, and I think I was playing pretty well that day. And my club coach at the time is like, hey, this coach wants to talk to you. And I'm like, okay, I hope it's the Dartmouth head coach. And it's this guy wearing this orange shirt that says Vermont Academy. And he's like, hey, I'm Alex Pope. You're a Division I player. And I was like,
wow. And
are you a Division I coach? And he was like, no, I run a prep school. I've had Jordan Morris and Misha too, all these NBA guys come. You need to come play for me. And I'm from the West Coast. I have no clue what a prep school is.
It's a totally different world, yeah.
Out there, it's like if you're good, you go to a boarding school. Whereas here, it's the boarding schools don't have actual class and stuff.
Right.
That's another thing.
They're usually therapeutic.
It's something like
yes.
that. So anyway, this guy ends up calling and I go home and I'm like, I don't know what that was, but this guy's interested. I start looking up the school. Okay, they send a lot of guys to college there. And I think that was one of the first high school coaches at that level to be also delusionally confident about my ability, which is funny is what that does to your own ability. And so then going into my senior year, I actually really wanted to go to Vermont Academy right away. And I was going to skip my senior year of high school. I was like, no, Mom, I need to go because I'm going to be 2 years there. Then I'm going to be a pro after. She's like, no, you can do your senior year. But I committed to Vermont Academy. So.
Did you apply to any colleges at that point?
No.
Okay. So you were just chilling at Loyola senior year. I mean, working out like a crazy person and playing basketball. But you're like, I don't have to do this crazy nonsense.
Well, that was what was a nice relief was that, especially at Loyola, it's SAT courses and prep and why are you going to this school and that, and I was like, I don't have to worry about any of that. But at the same time, it was also people who were like, where are you going? And I'm like, well, I'm going to Vermont to become a D1 player. And they're like, okay,
yeah, right,
sure, buddy,
sure.
But it's also worth including that that whole summer before, I had just a ton of D3 interest at these camps, right? Where I actually ended up visiting NYU and Claremont that summer, which I like at the time I was like, oh, it's not Division I, it doesn't matter, which was so wrong. But so I had a bunch of D3 interest, but nothing Division I.
Okay.
And then finished my season on a complete heartbreaker of a game. We lose in triple overtime.
Oh, whoa.
To go to state.
Who'd you play against?
Windward.
Stop.
I have like one of the worst games ever.
Do you have nightmares about this?
No.
Is this your anxiety nightmare that shows up a few times a year?
I've processed it and gotten over it. And the great story from that is then, I'm sobbing the whole way home. My parents are never like to take a day off from school, but they were kind of like, my mom told me she was ready to let me have a day off based off of, because we had a group of 10 seniors. We'd all been playing together for so long.
It's the worst.
Yeah, great group. And I woke up the next morning, they came in my room and they were like, all right, so you going to school today? And I was like, yeah, I got work to do, Mom. And
awesome. I love that.
And the great part of that story is I was training and stuff, but I think my habits didn't reflect being a Division I player, right? And so I went from shooting and working out 2 days a week to 5 days a week, lifting from 1 day a week to 4 days a week. Mm-hmm. I was also a very late bloomer. I was 5'6" as a freshman. Yeah, I just grew 2 or 3 inches every year. Yeah, I didn't have any muscle on my body until probably senior year of high school.
That's like a Steph Curry thing too. Wasn't he little?
A lot of those guys
until he got to like Davidson, and then he like got taller.
Yeah, and I mean especially too where it's like so crazy where you see kids like windmilling and being grown men in 8th grade, mm-hmm. that I was always like, when is that going to happen for me? But it happens later, and honestly, it's better that way. So I end up graduating after training rigorously from that was about April until graduation. I joined a new club program, Robert Eichhardt, BTI, which is like very focused on, they get a ton of really high level guys, but very like academic, as well as the athletic piece. Mm-hmm. A lot of connections, who I also actually met at that Dartmouth camp. And I graduate high school, and there's like this first summer showcase thing 2 weeks later. And the first weekend's in Connecticut, second weekend's in Massachusetts, and I'm just busting my butt. I ended up like, everyone went to Coachella that year. I didn't go to Coachella. Like I was like, yeah, and I didn't care. Like I was like, this is gonna happen. And I show up to this thing, right? This is like now the first time I'm playing with the Vermont Academy team. I haven't seen this Alex Pope guy since then. I met any of the other players. So I just literally just show up with my mom in Massachusetts at this gym. Like, all right, you're player 97 on this team. You get 4 games this weekend, week off, 4 games the next weekend. And I end up playing the best basketball of my life. I want to say I hit like 25 threes, 27 threes, something ridiculous the first weekend.
Whoa.
And just like, and from there, then I started like now getting, like no more D3 schools reached out after that week, and I was like, oh, maybe I might be a Division I player. Like I'm kind of good. And that week in between, and this is again, my mom is such a beast that she's like, well, okay, any of these schools that hit you up, let's just go visit them. We have a week between. We're not like going to go home. Let's just go drive around. So then we like went from Cornell to Marist to Princeton to where else? We went Niagara. Yeah. So
wasn't Buffalo enough for you?
Well, that's unfortunate. I didn't end up going there. But as part of the story, like where were we? Oh, we were already in New Jersey, I think. But then Princeton texts and is like, hey, can you be at elite camp tomorrow? And I was like, Mom, can we go? And my coach is like, yeah, it'll be good just to get some shots up in the week between. And I'm going to Princeton elite camp. I hit 18 threes in 2 games. Head coach sits me down and he's like, that's the best elite camp performance I've ever seen. Like, do you want to come to Princeton? And I was like, I mean, I'm not committing, but like, yeah. Next day, go to Army. I get my first offer from West Point. It was like,
wow,
the coolest thing. And that staff was amazing, like handwritten letters all the time. But I get my first offer from Army. And again, the plan here is to get 2 offers. 1, I'd take anything.
And this is before you've even started officially.
I haven't, played a single
Vermont
game at
Academy.
Vermont.
This is, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Haven't even started. So again, I'm like, okay, I got Army. Like at the end of the day, like if I needed to go to West Point, like I'd do it, right? It's going to like set me up for the future. I'm far from West Point guy, but Division I basketball. Play the next weekend, same thing happens, crush it, fly back to Los Angeles, and I'm still, training, getting ready. And by that time, I had about 15 offers the week after. And it was like my whole reality just flipped. Yeah, I played at Princeton on a Wednesday. I got the Army offer the night before. So I was coming in a little confident, but again, just had a great day at Princeton. Having been the kid who had gone to the elite camp, no one asked my name, no one wanted to get to talk to me, to then finishing the elite camp and I'm getting driven around on a golf cart by the two coaches and here's where you'd be, here's this, here's that. And I was like, I like this is nice.
Yeah, VIP.
This is cool and different. And then I come back to LA and I remember I'm back in the gym with my trainer going on, and we literally would be working out and have to stop workouts because my phone just kept ringing and be stepping out and okay, Penn just offered and Vermont just offered and Columbia's calling you later today and this and that, and it just was like erupted.
Wow.
Erupted. Yeah, and so my plan from there then was, now we had all these options, was okay, well, I don't have to be in Vermont for another month and a half, so why don't I set up all these visits and I could like commit before I even play a game. I was planning on playing the whole season, having to earn a scholarship. Now, fast forward to October, I had some like bigger fish in the mix too, of like BYU really wanted me, and other kind of now bigger schools hanging around. And again, I had been used to being the kid in the gym who was just lucky to be playing with the kid who brought all the coaches.
Right.
Now I was the kid bringing the coaches to the gym. I played some open runs, and then I thought I was gonna go to Bucknell. It's the only school I'd like booked an official visit with because it matched everything. It was on I came up with a list of schools as well.
Why Bucknell?
Great basketball program. They were super dominant in the mid 2000s, 2010s. Loved the coaching staff. It was like, okay, honestly, all these schools are now, it's just like dating, right? Where it's like, after the first date, then it's like, okay, are we going to go on a more serious second date? And so now all these coaches are having gone from, we think you're the best, to now like, when are you going to come visit our school?
Right.
And going from being really happy about all this interest to then realizing, actually, I don't really care about you if you're not going to come visit, was also really a big turn. And that you're kind of like, okay, I'm a commodity. Got it. He wasn't actually as interested about the beat tape I've been working on as I thought he was.
Totally.
And then also a funny story. I show up at Bucknell. They told me, you're our top guy. Caelen Jones, roll out the red carpet. Show up on that visit. There's another kid there. I'm like, I thought I was the top guy. What is this? This other kid ends up also being like, they told me I was the top guy. And so then, as...
This is like the two mistresses meeting each other or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Wait a minute. Well, I thought I was his wife. What do you mean?
Well, and then naturally we start comparing notes. And he's like, well, where else have you visited? And he was like, well, I really want to go to Yale, but, can't really afford it. So it's funny, like I would go to Penn or Princeton if I could afford it. Where else have you visited? It's like, I was actually at BU last weekend. I was like, I have an offer from there. And I end up finishing the Bucknell visit, realizing it wasn't the place for me. I really wanted to be somewhere in the city.
Right.
I was going to Vermont Academy at the time, which is...
I'm sure remote, right?
I think is about as remote gets. It was 150 kids. Nearest town was like 45 minutes away.
How fun.
It was
Dynamic community.
Different than LA. But anyway, this kid Miles Brewster is like, well, I loved BU. You should go check out BU. And again, I'm kind of a common theme. And then we're sitting in, my dad flew out for the visit. We're sitting in the airport and I'm like, can I just commit to Bucknell and be done with it? Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And he's like, no, like this is a big decision. Like if you don't want to go, you have other options. And I was like, oh, right. Let's go to BU and Penn. And the Penn staff was nice enough to bring me out for a visit, even though they knew I wasn't going to be able to go through with it just because of the financial stuff. But he was like, Boston's in a city. I was like, oh yeah, Miles told me Boston was cool. So the next weekend I go to Boston, and I end up realizing Boston's the place. That kid ends up becoming my roommate for the next 2 years and one of my best friends.
Wow.
So we love telling our, like, when we were there.
Your like meet story. I
Totally,
love that.
yeah. We're like so in love. Like just like telling that story is so fun. But anyway, that's how I ended up at Boston.
As far as money's concerned, I'm curious about this. Since basically they can't bribe you to go, right? I mean, per like all the rules, how does it work? Like for the kids who can't afford to go, do they somehow dig up like merit scholarship money? Like how does this happen?
Well, BU is scholarships. So I got a full ride.
But what about let's say the Penn kid? It's just they weren't going to offer it to them? Or that was not the Yale kid or you for Penn.
Yeah. Well, at the Ivy League, it's if you have a certain threshold of income, you don't qualify for any kind of grant stuff. So I think the number was like not a ridiculous number that again was like could have done it, but I know my family dynamic would have been a bit different in terms of I don't think, but all the
so
things. So
BU did it. They went and were there any other schools that offered you full rides?
Yeah, a ton. It was just the Ivy League that didn't do full rides. So the Patriot League used to be like that, but that's where I was kind of like, okay, well, I also would graduate without debt, so it's like kind of a no-brainer.
And what was it about BU apart from that piece of things that drew you? Yeah,
so I ended up having a super fun visit where I think having been in Vermont for the past month and a half, that now I'm in this big city. This is pre-COVID, so I ended up having just a textbook like college visit. You can imagine what that's like.
All the fun stuff.
They put me up in a super nice hotel, took me out to a 5-star dinner, brought me out with the team, was like, hey, you guys should go talk to the recruit, he's single. And it seemed from my research that honestly, I loved the guys. Like we had a team of characters. In my opinion, it was like everyone on the team was just a comedian in their own way. But that's what I fell in love with. Right. And then it was kind of like, yeah, okay, the coach is the coach. That'll kind of come back later.
Okay. So how were your first 3 years?
Very unique. So I then, as I leave to go home from Vermont Academy, right, the season's now finished, COVID happens. So, right, like we all thought, this is just going to be a flash in the pan. I get super locked in best shape of my life type deal. I'm literally just waking up, surfing, lifting, training at the park.
You're here
in LA.
Obviously, you can't go back to
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just super locked in, and show up ready, like so bright-eyed to be a freshman, like so excited to be a freshman in college, Division I basketball player. This is my lifelong dream. We start training for the season. Training's going well. Now it's COVID. We played in masks. We were like one of 2 schools to do everything in a mask. So you're not in the locker room, you're changing in your room, walking down the street.
Oh my God.
Doing it in the mask. We had one assistant coach whose job it was to be like, hey, pull up your mask. As we're getting ready, so then now we get close, we're nearing the season start. As the season starts, I test positive for COVID. Didn't feel a symptom in my body, but that meant that I would have to be quarantined by myself in a separate unit off campus for 2 weeks. So again, I go to that, okay, great, this is another setback. Here's my athlete brain. I request a jump rope and some bands. I'm in there working out.
Yep.
Like crazy because I don't feel bad. But my whole team now has to go away for 2 weeks. So they're all in a separate building together. I'm by myself. Exposed. Right. So again, keep plowing through. Finally, again, I get cleared to play. This is before we had one game. This is before the second game that I'm now cleared. I'm like, okay, great. Breakout performance. Here it comes. Caelen Jones, the star. The day before practice, go out for a rebound, get drilled in the head. And what's funny is I bit my tongue, so I'm like, my mouth is bleeding, but I'm still playing. And I'm like, I think I hit a few shots actually. So I was like playing well, but I'm, spitting out blood and whatever, keep going. My coach pulls me over and he's like, dude, go downstairs. I'm like, no, I spit out the blood. He was like, apparently I wasn't looking at anybody. I'd suffered a really bad concussion. So bam. The rest of the year I end up spending, again, and the same thing with the neurological research is very like, it's 2 weeks, you brush it off, you're fine. It ended up being about 4 months until I was like feeling pretty good again, just even decent again.
Wow. Was it headaches? Exhaustion?
Couldn't focus. And your brain just hurts. So anyone who's ever had a concussion, it's like one of the things I would never wish upon even my worst enemy. Really, it's like your head will just feels like someone's squeezing your head. So I don't end up playing a game my freshman year.
And were you able to work out, at least like stay in shape, or?
Well, when you have a concussion, you're not
can't
supposed
really
to
do
be
anything,
working
right?
out. Yeah, so the 2 months, unfortunately, again, BU was a very medically advanced school, so they set me up with a neurologist, and so my agility lifting trainings turned into like moving beads and depth perception and stuff. So I was like, it was weird, but I was determined. So I was like, okay, whatever they tell me to do, I'm gonna get better. But then finally, when I went home for summer, that was when I started to kind of like get back, actually be back training again.
And then you guys did you have a normal season or no? I imagine no.
No, well, I mean, it never was really normal the whole time I was there, right? Because then even the next year, you're still getting COVID tested twice a week. And then especially being on the basketball team where if someone tested positive, we're now all liable. Then now so again, it's like it would seem something as simple as, oh, I went on a date last night, or I went out, or we all just went and got dinner, or we went to a house party, is like, if you tested positive, now the whole team suffers the consequences. And flipping it from, instead of just being a kid, you're being selfish, you know?
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
heavy stuff.
Makes you think about the NBA bubble, actually. And like, they did you ever think like, why don't we just do that? Why don't you just put us in a hotel? All the teams are basically playing together, like some sort of like in Las Vegas or something, where you're all just like stuck.
Yeah, well, that would be the smart thing to do. Or honestly, I was just like, we're done with this. Like, I just want to be a college kid and play my sport, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, then became a ton of hoops to jump through, which then also when I got there, the first time now because of COVID, guys had an extra year. So the way I had scouted the team walking into it was, okay, this guy's going to be gone who's in my position, and that guy. And by the time I'm a sophomore, at the very least, I should only be competing with guys lower than me on the depth chart for playing time.
Right.
They now end up staying. So we end up, my sophomore year, we end up having, like, by far the most talented team I've ever been a part of. One of those guys in the NBA now, Javante McCoy. Sook's been playing. Sook Matone was the MVP. We had 2 MVPs of the league on our team, basically.
Wow.
2 of the other guys end up playing still active pro players. Don't end up winning the league that year, but it was just a joy to be like, wow, we're so talented. And I'm so lucky that I'm the 8th man on this team. You know, it's very deserving. So
then what propels you to go to a new school? I mean, that's the interesting.
So then what propels that is by my junior year, again, so now I think also it's important to give the context of the calendar year for me. Is we'll start when the first day you get to campus is, right, which would be like September 1st.
Right.
You get to campus and maybe the first few days you're not doing training, but once it starts, it is like we're lifting 4 or 5 days a week and we're practicing at least 2 hours a day. Which, mind you, isn't like you show up at 4, you leave at 6. It's like, okay, the coaches are going to be there at 3:15 and you should stay after until like 6:30. So you have that. You have a season where an average day looks like, okay, and my junior year, for example, we practiced in the afternoon. So I was like, I'm going to have all my classes start at noon so I can sleep as long as possible. You're in class from 12 to 3. Then you're practicing from 3:30 to 5:30 or 6. And after that is a film session. After that then is a lifting training stuff. And then you're eating. And then you should still be doing more stuff before maybe you crack open a book and do some homework at 8 or 9. Then mind you, when you're playing a game, it's that practice, or let's say you're playing Loyola Maryland, you have a game on a Wednesday, you're flying out Tuesday morning, we practice at like 8 a.m. on Tuesday morning, fly or drive, get to the hotel, then you'd stretch, and then we'd do a shoot around there, wake up the next morning, another shoot around, scout, prep, then game time, and then maybe you played 5 minutes.
Oh my God, I'm so tired just even hearing it. This is exhausting.
It gets even better. Then you drive back that night. Then, okay, we got practice again. If you played 15 minutes, you're chilling. If you didn't, let's go.
Wow.
So yeah, a whole season of that. So then that finally ends with the aspiration the whole time of hopefully making it to March Madness. That ends, and I think depending on how the coach felt about the season, right? We never got to go to the tournament, so it was very rarely feeling very proud of what we had done. Was then you would get a week or two off where nothing was actually expected of you, and then start training again until the rest of the school year. So now this is from mid to late March until you go home, right? We get a month off. We have summer school, which the implication of going home is, okay, first day back, we're doing all our conditioning tests. You better be better, faster, stronger, jump higher. You better be a better version of yourself.
Right.
To then now for a month and a half, you're out at school, taking a class, training the whole time. And it's relaxed, but it's still, it's hyper competitive. We'd have like one official practice a week, which is a 2.5 to 3 hour, very intense deal.
Yeah.
That then again, they send you home at the beginning of August. You're coming back in 3 weeks. You better be better, faster, stronger, all the stuff. So of 52 weeks, maybe a week or two where you weren't expected to come back and be better, faster, stronger. So we now fast forward to my junior year and not getting exactly what I thought I was going to get out of it, and having a far from straight path. The last 10 or 15 games of the season, I was like, I don't love basketball anymore. Like, aww. I'm done. Yeah. I wasn't playing. And so I was like, okay, well, fortunately I'd stay on top of my classes. And because of the summer classes, I was like, I can graduate in 3 years.
Wow. And
have another class or another year of eligibility. So I do that. And my whole plan is, okay, I'm going to go D3, because then the value of what I wanted or like what I was aspiring for in my college career completely shifted, where it was like, I'm going to be a pro player. So it's like, all I care about is winning a championship and being a really big core reason that we won a championship, as well as getting a degree and setting myself up after. Because I think that was one of the things that I saw at BU was, and it's not their fault, it's just an aspect of the deal where it doesn't, my coach isn't interested if like I have aspirations to be in marketing or what careers sound interesting. He needs to win games,
Yeah.
So I start talking to some of the people who are in D3, and it's like, okay, this seems pretty interesting. So then I put my name in the portal, and I was like also super embarrassed about transferring and the fact that I wasn't going to be transferring laterally to another Division I school.
But this is your choice.
Completely my choice.
And what did the guys on the team think?
They honestly really understood, which was, Miles was like, I remember telling him. Poor Miles. And I remember telling him, and he was like really, really upset because he was losing a buddy, and I was really upset too. But he was like, I understand. Everyone understood, and I think could see why I would do that. And honestly, it was kind of sad. It was like there seemed to be a level of envy from other guys that it was like, oh, he's kind of getting out and trying something at least. So that was some mixed emotions. But anyway, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to another really great school, and I'm going to put my name in the portal, and bam, everyone's going to come calling me. Nope. Nope. So at the time, I really wanted to go to NYU. I was like, all right, this would be perfect. BU to NYU. Got one of the former Colgate coaches is there. I'm like, how could they not take me? Right? I'm Division I, they'd be lucky to have me.
Right.
That year, NYU had a complete turnaround. I show up on the visit, and they were like, where are you from? I'm like, BU. They go, oh yeah, we had Princeton and Columbia and this and that. And then there was another kid from also Princeton on the visit. So it's like all these D1 guys who were kind of having tough experiences.
They were in a moment, yep.
We're all going there. So I'm like, oh, whoa. Okay. They're like, yeah, we need a 4-man, so it doesn't really work out. I end up applying to NYU on my own grad school, end up getting in. And I remember realizing that it wouldn't be a basketball fit. And so it was such a funny thing where I got the acceptance letter and was just like, this is the worst thing ever. And my mom was like, you just got into NYU grad school. Like, shut up,
Right.
But anyway, fast forward a week or two later, I'm on the couch with Miles and just in a complete state of disarray, confused about how did I end up here? Where am I going? Do I want to play? Do I not want to play? I get a call from this gregarious Italian guy, CJ Jones. I'm like, hi. And he's like, you got to come play for me, kiddo. This is Ken Scalmanini at Claremont McKenna. And me and Miles are sitting on the couch just...
Is Ken Scalmanini supposed to be at NYU? What is that?
Yeah. Well, I honestly, thank God he's at Claremont. And so, I mean, Miles and I are sitting on the couch just rolling laughing. I mean, he's hysterical. But he's like, when you coming home, kiddo, you got to come play for me, like, right now. We need a 3-man. You can come here, get an MBA. You know, and I was like, oh, okay. Actually, I'm going to be home, like, in 2 weeks. I'll swing by. And so it came down to... Claremont and Pomona, which are the two big rivals.
Yep.
So for those who don't know, familiar with the Claremont colleges, there's 5 colleges that all share a campus, and then sports-wise, it's split up between CMS, Claremont Mud and Scripps, and then Pomona and Pitzer. And what was cool was that, you know, again, this whole grad process of these grad school applications are not easy.
Nope.
No, if you thought undergrad was tough, grad school is pretty difficult. So it was like one grad school application. I visited with the Pomona coach. Didn't get the right vibe, but as soon as I walked into Ken Scalmanini's office, it was love at first sight. And that's how I ended up at Claremont.
So you were at Claremont for grad school, but you played.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, that was the first or second year they had guys who were doing grad school who could play on the undergrad team. So it was kind of a funky thing where I was like living off campus, and it wasn't the most like conjoined experience, but it was just because of the newness of the deal.
And did you like Claremont McKenna?
I got everything and more I could have asked for out of Claremont McKenna. I go to Claremont and I'm going through a complete transition time. I'm like back in LA, having all these, you know, having a little too much fun being back in LA and assuming that whatever I'm going to get now as a player will just be handed to me because I'm a Division I guy. They're so lucky to have me. And also never forget this. Sit down. Ken brings me in one day and he's like, you know, you're the second best player on our team. And honestly, I'm not going to play you the first game because you don't do the things that the other guys are doing. And I had this like first time with a college coach that I had this very like, I felt cared about, you know. He's like, I know you're going through this transition and like it was like a breakup and all this other stuff, but like you need to try for me because I care about you. And I was like, done.
Did you feel like you were being lazy?
Well, I was being a little bit crazy. Like I would be like, Dennis Rodman was too much of an influence at that time.
Got you. So you were out the club.
Yeah.
And then you were showing up to practice, maybe not as quality as you needed to be.
1000%. And the Claremont, and mind you too, the Claremont demographic is all these guys are going to go into private equity or banking.
Yep.
So very finance, which again, I got a sociology undergrad. You know, I have dreams of maybe being a musician, right? So I'm completely fish out of water with these guys.
And did you feel like you found a community there at some point, or was it just like in, out? How long were you there?
2 years.
Okay.
What I got actually was a coach who just loved me exactly the way I was, which I think is also because he saw a lot of himself in me. But that's what dictated everything. And then my first year there was super lucky. We also had 2 really talented grad guys, Josh Angle, who's also playing overseas, and then Will King. And so it was tough because I never felt like I necessarily found my people per se at Claremont.
Right.
But what I had without a doubt was somebody who just loved everything about me and knew how to communicate with me, and that being my head coach, you know. And this is important context because at BU, my head coach would have and this isn't a shade or anything, it's just comparing the differences between the two. Is he'd take you out to lunch in the beginning of the season. How are you doing? All right, I got free lunch. I don't really talk that much.
Right.
And the whole time, it's like if you're having complaints, you talk to the assistant. We had kind of one assistant who was pretty Switzerland, where you could kind of I cried to him probably a few times. Compared to Claremont is Scal and I would in the off season call each other like 3 times a week and just talk about basketball, or he'd just ask about what was going on with me or what I was interested in. Like we were
like
really
a real mentor. Like you were like his kid, basically.
Yeah, no, he's like my second dad, basically. And that was the dynamic where I just remember like the first time I felt like I'd made the right choice was I walked into practice after we had that conversation, and Scal just walked in and just gives me a hug. And he's just like, "How's your Tuesday?" And it was...
Does he hug anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, he's hugging and he's joking, and he's the guy is a stand-up comedian at heart. I swear to God, he is like just captivates a room. But he asked me how my day was, and I knew he was actually curious about how my day was.
Yeah.
And it's funny because then that goes, okay, I want to play defense now for you. I'm gonna, I want to do this. Okay, so it flipped.
Well, it's that reciprocity that's like important. I think that it basically sounds like what happened at BU was that you were in a situation where you had like the hierarchy was really evident, as opposed to him or the coaches trying to be kind of like on your level.
Yep.
What gets you to Barcelona?
Well, then that's after. Oh, and then it's important to include that we end up going the furthest we ever go in school history that year. Go to Sweet 16, the NCAA tournament.
Wow.
I have 34 points in that game. We win the league. The next year, we also win the league again.
Does this make up for the Windward Loyola? I'm still stuck on that. I'm still crying about that.
Yeah, it completely does. And it's so cool now because even when we're playing games this year, as I look up at the wall and it's like, all right, 2024, 2025, Caelen Jones, which is so cool. So then again, as I think as part of the lingering Division I experience where again, everyone's dream on the team was to go play professional. And it's like, if it wasn't, it was, you know what I mean? It was, right? Where it's like, you're not going to go get a job right away. Like you're going to go play in Bangladesh at the very least.
Right.
So there was a overseas trip after school to get to travel. And I was like, heck yeah, I'm going to go to Barcelona. And then also after the season ended, but then it's weird because after the season ended, I was like, well, I'm kind of done wearing this basketball hat. Like I just went back-to-back championship and had this phenomenal last end to it. And honestly, I think I had accomplished what I really wanted to accomplish. But then I go out and play and I'm like, I still got it. And I speak Spanish. So I'm like I'm just having the time of my life in Barcelona.
Right.
Get an offer from like a club team to play out there. That is like, in the moment when I'm loving it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is a no-brainer. I get to be in Blanes and I'm like 30 minutes outside the city and I get to score 30 points a game. It seems sweet. And it's like, all right, making 500 euros a month. And it's like, huh.
Maybe
okay.
I need to get another job.
Yeah. And really more just kind of like, okay, well then what this really means is then another year of training, and professional is a lot more similar to Division I than it is D3, where the daily pace of Division III is like, you're expected to excel in basketball, but the coaches aren't going to yell at you. Or you're there for pursuing life and career because Claremont's a great school. It's like, okay, our captain, he's gonna be the CEO of Apple one day. He just happens to play basketball and be good at it.
Right.
That's the vibe. Whereas at BU, it's like, okay, you play basketball and like, oh, maybe you have an interest, but like, you play basketball. That's what you do. Right. That's why you're here. So it's a different vibe.
And then how long are you there?
Ended up being there for a month and a half, 2 months, and kind of bouncing around Europe. And then I had this accounting job that I had picked up while I was getting my MBA and playing last year. Because again, everyone else has these finance jobs. And I was like, all right, I got to become like an accountant at the least or something to kind of fit in.
Right.
And as I'm doing the trip, I'm like, I'm like dreading this. I end up having the first day I don't even know if I should say this, but it's true, is that the first day I'm supposed to start, I walk in and I'm like, I quit.
You quit your job in the first,
I quit my job the first day.
Why wouldn't you say that? That's actually better to get it over with when you know.
Yeah, and
Before they could fire you.
Before they could fire me. And I probably should have kept it, but I was like, it's not right for me. So, and around that time I had started like getting scouted for modeling stuff, and I was like,
now we get to the real story that I wanted to talk about.
I'm gonna be like a male model and like da da da, and I was kind of like, well, all right. And then kind of further down the line, get introduced to some neighbors and we have a court out of my house, and start training some kids, and I'm actually kind of like, I've always been really into the way my coaches communicated with me, and always in the back of my head been like, this is how I would do this. That's how I would do this. Well, don't you know that this guy is a little more sensitive? Like, you should talk to him like that. This guy doesn't need as much. That dynamic was really interesting.
Well, that's where the sociology thing comes in too.
Probably.
That intuitiveness and that ability to observe and understanding, the backgrounds of the different kids and where they're coming from and what their mentality is.
Yeah. And being exposed to, and also like kind of being always in a completely different environment from basketball, right? Where like usually the only white kid on my basketball teams. Also then as you get older, you start international players and moving so much. And I was always so interested about people's differences in that way and being able to communicate with them. And then now that's kind of led to becoming a high school coach, which is something that I was like, didn't see this, but also kind of totally saw it. And again, it's like, yeah, so I'm excited. So
what's your position now? Will you tell our listeners / viewers?
Yeah.
Exciting news.
I'll be a head freshman basketball coach at Campbell Hall and a varsity assistant. So helping out the program, and I'm hoping to do some like substitute teaching and stuff.
You're going the education route.
Yeah.
I love it. It's addicting. It's addicting. Like once you start working with kids, we always say this, like my mom works with me, like we're educators at heart. Like we just love, there's something about when you're with kids and you see them succeed and you know that you've had, not that it's an ego thing, but you know that relationship has impacted them in a positive way, and you can see, oh, they changed their game just slightly. They decided to practice this play that we talked about, or they just, when you see that come to fruition, oh, you're done. You're done.
Well, and I think it's also the important thing of like just being willing to try different stuff right now, and like I started a band a few weeks ago, and like, just like
you're
all
25.
over the place.
You can do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want.
This is the crazy thing. You've got a real job.
So I have a real job now, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
What is something that you have learned about your teaching style that you think is a really good thing, where you're like, wow, I'm good at doing this thing?
Ooh. You asked me to brag about my teaching style?
I sure am.
The way I like to teach is the kind of like teach the player in the basketball case. All right, we're working with Carter. Like, here's how to do a crossover. Now teach me the crossover. I think it's the empowering aspect of it, where the best teachers to me don't make you feel inadequate because you don't know something, right? It's like actually they spark your curiosity, and I think that's something I would love to aspire to do. So I think the empowering element, and just also the mentoring piece too, is like it's such a difference. I think also the reason I ended up playing college basketball is because I had a Des Randall in 8th grade who was like, you rock, and here's how fun basketball can be, to an Alex Pope, to a Jamal Adams in high school, to Robert Eichart, to all these people along the way, and even professors that I've had too.
Who's your favorite team, or what's your favorite team?
I grew up a Laker fan, so I'm a Laker fan. And
college?
Honestly, I'm just a fan of the game college-wise. I like it. Yeah, I don't have I'm not a every Sunday I'm watching the whatever kind of guy.
Right.
Just like good games on, I'll watch.
But when it comes to the tournament, you're going to watch.
Yeah, when it comes to the tournament, then it's whatever team I picked. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So we're going to do my favorite part of this pod, which is the admit it section. So admit it, with a dad who played college ball, a mom who played college volleyball, and they're no slouches, like legit schools. Johns Hopkins, William and Mary. What was the other one where your mom played?
San Diego State.
San Diego State. Okay, these are tall people. Yes, your mom is tall.
And they're cool, yeah.
They're tall, cool. Admit it.
Okay.
Did you ever feel pressure to play ball in college?
No. No, they were both very good about, I mean, I think it was, I would honestly get mad at my dad sometimes. I'd have to be like, no, Dad, like, be honest, how'd I play? And then he'd be like, no, I'm like, no, Dad, like, critique me, please. So I was very, very fortunate to have that dynamic. I know a lot of other kids didn't.
Wow,
with their
you're lucky.
parents. Yeah, and my mom being such a beast that, you know, when coaches get on the phone with moms where it's kind of like, they don't really know much, like, Kirsten Jones knows what is going on, and it'd be so funny because we go on the visits, and then, you know, I'm the one bringing them to the visit, but then by the end they're like, oh, you know, my mom's using it as promotion, so it was like kind of a great through line for her.
Oh, tell us what your mom does.
My mom is, what doesn't she do? She's an author, has her own podcast. Just my favorite woman. She's also my mother, life coach, speaker.
Wow.
Yeah.
Admit it, Caelen. All those times you were playing basketball, having had such an involved family, especially a family of athletes, people supporting you, driving you around, committing their time, all that stuff, was it hard to not have them at the games?
I think at BU, there were times when it was really challenging that I, for the first time, was starting to feel the distance of like, oh, it'd be nice to like go and hang out with my dad or something, or my mom after this game. But honestly, they were very like, all right, you know, like from being a kid, like, all right, I'm going over to Matt's house, like, all right, be back at sundown. Like, they were very not kind of
like helicoptery.
Yeah, very not helicoptery. And honestly, my mom was like, all right, you want to go to Boston? Go. You know, you can go to, and not like, cause like, get out of here.
Get out of here. I don't want you in my face anymore.
But, you know, I think in the same way for me that I was like, that's why I chose to go far away, was to getting to experience something different. And then what's funny then is and then also being 19, you know, like thinking too much, like, all right, I'm away from my parents. Sweet.
Right.
And then it was on the back end of with the Claremont that they were able to come to every game. And the games that they weren't able to come to, it was because we were kind of a powerhouse. We'd have some games where we just games that weren't worth coming to.
It was a blowout.
Yeah, and they give me like, hey, we're not going to do the 3-hour drive today. I'd be like, yeah, don't do the 3-hour drive today. But that was something that I, because of the Boston experience, then just appreciated so much that I could go out or I could come home and have dinner on Sunday night, you know, with them, and then drive back out there. So I'm just super lucky with who they are.
Admit it. Will your son or daughter have a basketball in their hands by the time they are standing?
Only if they pick it up.
Oh, that's a lie. I don't believe it.
It's true.
I don't believe it.
If either my kids want to become astrophysicists, or I honestly kind of hope I have some like really artsy kids.
That's the other side of you.
And then maybe like me and my wife are like, whatever, do the sport thing.
Are you like in your imagination? Are you guys like just surfing every day? Is it that lifestyle? I like this vision that you have. You're manifesting it.
Yeah, I'm speaking it into existence. I don't know. I as I'm starting to do some coaching, I'm then becoming completely aware of how much commitment it came from my parents, of being like, yeah, I'm going to drive with you to Orange County today and spend the whole day in the gym with you. There's no place in the world I'd rather be, but I know my dad, who's been working all week, would love to be at home.
Oh, I'm sure he loved every second of it.
But yeah, so again, I think it's like, it's whatever they end up pursuing is what will be pushed.
Oh, it's too good. I love it. Thank you so much, Caelen Jones. You've had such an interesting trajectory, and I think it's something that a lot of parents and kids are going to appreciate, because you've had to do a lot of pivoting, and that's something that is uncomfortable and also fascinating. So I'm very excited about your new path.
I'm excited to keep pivoting. So
keep pivoting. That's what we'll say here at Admit It with Alexis White. Keep pivoting. Thanks for tuning in to Admit It with Alexis White. If you're working on your college applications and want guidance every step of the way, visit alexiscollegeexpert.com to find resources and support tailored for you. For even more tips, stories, and college insights, make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram at College Expert. Until next time, good luck, and remember, you don't have to do this alone.